Greetings, brothers and sisters, friends and colleagues, wherever you are. Today we are focusing on this special topic, Just Go Forward. It's a continuation from where we left the previous time when we were talking about go forward. But today we are focusing on this one, just go forward. Face the crisis head on. Today we are faced with so much crisis. We are bombarded with headlines every day of calamities that is happening around us. You realize that some of these headlines seem to be very systematic to remind us of the infection of coronavirus, to remind us of how many people are dying. It seems it is calculated. Well, this is my opinion and assessment. It seems it is calculated to frighten us. Now, I was reading in the paper today from The Guardian. The headline of The Guardian was saying February 2, which is today. It says, Coronavirus News Live, EU tightens rules of foreign visitors. First COVID vaccine arrives in South Africa. So now there is a restriction in our traveling, and now vaccine is being given here in Europe and also in South Africa. They've received their first batch as well. I don't know which one, whether it's a Pfizer, whether it's a Moderna, or whether it's a AstraZeneca. I'm not very sure, but they've received some today. But now I went to the Independent. The Independent headline was saying door-to-door testing for South African variant. No, this is the most interesting thing about this, because the second paragraph says a total of 105 cases in the UK have so far been attributed to the new variant, 11 of which were recently found to be community-based and not linked to people who have traveled to South Africa, suggesting the virus is now circulating among local population. So the question is quarantine working or not? Is isolation working or not? I am not very sure, but one thing which is sure is that there is the spread of infection. But I actually decided to look at the WHO website to see the statistics of where we are, and this was as of the 1st of February 2021, there were over 102 million cases and over 2 million deaths, all attributed to COVID-19. So we have lost over 2 million people according to WHO. And when you look at the statistics, you realize that the Americans, they have got more infection, but West Pacific has got much lower infection. What exactly is this? How far will this go? When will this virus slow down is the question that we ask ourselves. You'll find that, as a world, we are now very anxious, because business is at standstill. Schools are closed. Universities are closed. It's all about online learning. Exams postponed. Even worship services are closed. We cannot go to see each other. We can only meet on Zoom, on YouTube, on Facebook, and on other platforms, but all virtual. We cannot meet face to face anymore. It seems everything has been disrupted. And I was talking to my colleagues. They are very much worried. Will I die of COVID, or will I get it? But now, the way how we think and the way how we behave, it is as if we have become slaves of COVID. Now the question is, where really is our faith? Do we really believe that God can protect us anymore? I'm reminded of the helpless situation of the Israelites as they were on their journey from Egypt to the promised land. They encamped by the Red Sea between the mountains, and Pharaoh's army was pursuing them. And the Bible says in Exodus chapter 14, verse 10, and when Pharaoh drew nigh, the children of Israel lifted up their eyes, and behold, the Egyptians marched after them. And they were so afraid, and the children of Israel cried out unto the Lord, and they said unto Moses, because there were no graves in Egypt, hast thou taken us away to die in the wilderness? Wherefore hast thou dealt thus with us, to carry us forth out of Egypt? Is not this the word that we did tell thee in Egypt, saying, let us alone, that we may save the Egyptians? For it had been better for us to save the Egyptians than that we should die in the wilderness. They regretted why they started the journey, but it was God who said, let's go. It was God who was leading them, and now they were crying to Moses. Verse 13, and Moses said unto the people, fear ye not, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will show you Today, for the Egyptians whom you have seen, today ye shall see them no more forever. The Lord shall fight for you, and you shall hold your peace. Now, if God will fight for them, the God that fought for them, is he still the same God today? Verse 15, and the Lord said unto Moses, wherefore criest thou unto me? Speak unto the children of Israel, that they go forward. Just continue with your journey. And I want to say to you, my brothers and sisters, the God who spoke to the Israelites before, and he said, just go forward, is the same God who is speaking to us today. Just continue with your life. We'll be bombarded with news every day. We'll be told about this coronavirus every day. But listen, God is the one that gives life. God is the one that protects. Just continue with your life. You know, God commanded his people to go towards the sea. It was a dead end. But however, we understood that, you know, God opened the Red Sea and they walked on dry ground. But that was just the beginning. As they crossed the Red Sea, they went into the wilderness. There was thirst, there was hunger, there was coldness, there were serpents which were very dangerous, venomous serpents. There were armies who were fighting them. There was quite a lot of problems, but there was nothing to fear. Why? Because the rock followed them, and that rock was Jesus Christ. My brothers and sisters, when God has started a journey with you, there is nothing to worry. But the problem was the mentality of the Israelites. And this is the mentality which many of us have today. We don't trust God. We look into ourselves as if we can add even just 1 second to our lives. No. Life is a free gift from God. It's God that gives health as we comply to his laws. And I like what it says in the book Testimonies, volume 4, page 223, paragraph 2. It says, it was not an easy thing to hold the host of Israel in waiting before the Lord. They were excited and full of terror. They lacked discipline and self-control, just like many of us today. Impressed by the horrors of their situation, they become violent and unreasonable, just like many of us today. They expected speedily to fall into the hands of their oppressors, and their wailing and recrimination were loud and deep. The wonderful pillar of cloud had accompanied them in their wanderings and served to protect them for the very rays of the sun, but they could not realize it anymore. To them, that which they saw was more powerful than the God who was guiding them in the pillar of cloud. All day it had been moving. It had moved grandly before them, subject neither to the sunshine nor storm. And at night it had become a pillar of fire to light them on their way. They had followed it as the signal of God to go forward. But now they questioned among themselves if it might not be the shadow of some terrible calamity that was about to befall them. For had it not led them on the wrong side of the mountain into an impassable way? Thus the angel of God appeared to them, to their deluded minds, as a hamburger of disaster. My brothers and sisters, can we still trust God even in a situation which we are today? Or we blame God for COVID. We blame God for calamity. We don't see the hand of God that has led us until where we are today. Some of us, we are 20, we are 40, we are 50, we are 60, we are 80, we are 100. This was all because of the providence of God. Should we blame God for COVID? What exactly is COVID? It's just a mere infection like any other infection. But God is still on the throne. Just go forward. Live your life as normal. Live your life as normal. Comply with what you need to comply, but have peace in your heart. You know, let me appeal to your minds, my brothers and sisters. Today, many of us have been deluded. We believe in science more than trusting in God. We believe in what people say much more than what God says. You know, this problem of COVID was created simply because of disobedience to God. Had we obeyed the voice of God as we've learned before, we would not have all this. But however, God has actually warned us that, you know, in the last days, We will see pestilence after pestilence. It will be disaster after disaster. But the real solution is not in whatever humanity can do, because humanity has created the problem. The solution has to come from without, and it's only in trusting God. It's hard, it's challenging, it's difficult. It sounds, even sometimes it sounds very unreasoning to trust God. But you know, I get my comfort from the book Testimonies, volume 4, page 26, paragraph 3 says, there are times when the Christian life seems beset by dangers and duties seem hard to perform, hard to worship, hard to believe that God is still on the throne. The imagination pictures impending ruin before, and bondage or death, just like the Israelites who were actually, they could see death before them, they could see death behind them, and around there were mountains. Yet the voice of God speaks clearly above all discouragements. Go forward. We should obey his command. Let the result be what it may. Even though our eyes cannot penetrate the darkness, and though we feel the cold waves about our feet, my brothers and sisters, COVID will be over soon. Colleagues and friends, this thing called COVID, we will learn to live with it and will conduct a normal life. Remember, God is still on the throne. Because God is still on the throne, blessed are those who would trust and believe in him, even at this juncture. Just go forward. Just go forward. Live your normal life. Let go fear. Remember what we said previously. Isaiah chapter 41:10. Fear not. Revelation chapter 2 verse 10. Fear not. Just trust in the Lord, and God will bring it to pass. Just